Okay, here's going to be my review of what we did in class yesterday. You might recall that the first thing we talked about was importing a layout. That is, to use something other than a color background for the basic page design. So to import a layout, that is any JPEG type of a picture you might have laying around, it could be a previous layout that you built or something you downloaded from the internet or any photo for that matter. To import it, you go to Import Layout, and this brings up a dialog box. It's going to let you choose. Now, we used, as our example yesterday, let me find it here, we had under Documents, I think I told you guys to put this, to put embellishments. So under embellishments, and this could be from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from embellishments, but that's just what you will happen to have had from the class yesterday. But in there, we had papers, and under papers, there were a lot of different photos, or 5 different photos, one of which I called Embellished Stacker. So if we bring this in, what you're going to see is this come in and open up to that. So there, now we have that background that I previously built called Stacker or Embellished Stacker. And you can do anything you want to that. You can add photos, and we did. I took a picture of, I think I used my daughter Sarah's photos. Pretty sure I always do that, so I probably did. Down here someplace we've got Sarah's pics, and I probably brought in one of these, something like this. All right, so this will load in, and that's what we have. Okay, now as you can see, you can do all the sort of things you can always do with photos. You can rotate them, you can resize them, and that then would become the layout right there just by adding a photo. Past that, I think I showed how we could take this picture and we could go up here and we could edit it. And to edit it, we would go maybe down here to the mask, and we'd take a mask that was from the standard masks. All these masks are on your system now that you have. And we'll that one I think is what I picked. And we sit this down here. You remember from masking, the white area is what's going to stay. Everything else is going to get cut out. And we'll tell it to apply that. And when it does, there's the result of the masking. You can blow it up to fit on here how you might like. And there, you now have that layout with just bringing in a photo, masking it, and laying it on a background, or this particular stacked paper background. Now, keep in mind, you can make any of these backgrounds you want. You can save your own. That is, you could make up a nice one that might have a title, might have whatever else you wanted on there. Anything you can imagine, you could make that be your background and save it, and that will then be able to be recalled as a layout. And in the background, or the project will size to it. So that was one thing that we did. Now, beyond that, we also began working with some action elements, or active elements rather. And let me just hide her here for a minute. We'll just get her out of the way. And what we did is up here on the top menu bar, there's a button called Active Elements. Now, in there, the first one down is something called frames. Now, a frame really is nothing other than telling ActionScrap where you want some action to happen. It has to know where to put it on the page. So that is, you're defining a frame where it's going to happen. So we did a case of a slideshow, and when you do that, this little green box shows up. And now this green box, like anything else, can be resized. It can be rotated around. And let's try to rotate it sort of so that it matches the rotation of that top panel of this layout, or this background. And we'll size it up to something about like this. All right. Now, when we have this, there's the frame, but it doesn't have anything in it. That is, it doesn't know what to do. It just sits there, and if we go in now, back up to active elements, and you go down to item managers, and under that you're going to see something called slideshow manager. If you click on that, that's going to bring up this dialog box. And if we go over here and start adding some images, when we add these images, you'll see, let's add, we'll do this one, and here I'll just pick a few. This one, this one, this one, and this one. All right? And we'll bring them in, and when they come in, it's loading them right now. You can see that here they are. They're all in there. They're pretty darn close to the size that I selected for the slideshow panel or frame. You can always make them exactly right just by telling it to auto crop. I don't want to crop random. I want to crop auto. And when it does that, it'll expand the page out from the center out so that it exactly fits. So we'll go down and do that for all of these. We'll just auto crop every one of them to make sure that they fit the frame exactly. If they don't fit the frame, by the way, it'll just do what you might remember from TV is called letterboxing. That is, it would just, that area that wasn't filled in would be filled in by whatever color over here you chose, black, white, or none at all, in which case it would be a ping and it wouldn't fill in anything at all. So now we've got that. Now remember, there's numbers of ways that you can make these slideshows. Crossfade is the default, and that is that one picture just dissolve into another. Another one is carousel, in which case the one photo would slide off and a new one would come in its place. It can be done either manually or automatic. It defaults to automatic. And you can, if you go into manual, you could do it with a number of different ways, but all we did in class was the automatic mode, so I'll stick with that. And then you also have the option of having it loop. Right now, it doesn't default to a loop. It just plays, if it's not set to loop, it will play through the slides one time and stop on the last one. If you tell it to loop, it will continue to loop forever. That is, when it reaches the final slide in this progression, it will then revert back to the first one. So let's tell it to loop. All right. Also, you can set the slide duration. How long do you want a slide to stay on before it begins its next transition through a fade to the next picture down? And this tells the fade time, how long it's going to take for it to fade. So these are the defaults, 2.5 seconds and 0.75 seconds. And you can change that to anything you want. But anyway, now if we have this, we'll just tell it OK. All right, so those are in the slideshow now. It doesn't show anything yet because we haven't created the active page. To create the active page, you go back up here to the top menu bar, and you'll see under Media that there's an item called Build the Active or Action Page. All right, so to build the action page, all you do, let's don't worry about any of this stuff up here just yet. We'll just build it real quickly and say, hey, I want to make an action page out of what I've done so far. And we'll give it a name like, I think we use test page. Let's use that. And we'll save it as a test page. It's preparing the files, and just like that, it's done. Now, this action page that it built can be viewed, and what it'll do is it will open in your browser. Why the browser? Because an action page is nothing other than a web page. And when it opens, it's going to open in a web page or in a browser just like any other web page would. So if you click on this button, you'll see your browser will come to action or become forward, and the slideshow that we just put in there will start slideshowing. That is, it'll just cycle through these pictures. Now, when it gets to the last one, which I think is this one coming up, I think, or maybe I don't know, I forget now, but it doesn't matter. Whichever one is the last, it'll just go back to the first one. And this thing will just sit here like this and slideshow forever and ever and ever. So there is a way now that we've got a slideshow that's just never going to stop. Okay? So let's just cut that off for the time being. And we'll go back into here, into ActionScrap, and say, Well, what if we wanted another page to do something else? Well, the something else could be, let's take this slideshow and make it some different pictures. Let's go into the slideshow manager, and I'll clear all of these out. And I'm going to add some different pictures to this thing now. I'll go find some other pictures somewhere else. Let me, I don't know where I might even have some. I guess I got some somewhere. Usually there's well, hold on just 1 second. Let me find something here. Pictures. Let's go there and see what we can find. Here, I'll just grab a couple of pictures of my son's wedding here. How about that one and that one? And, I'll throw in another picture of Sarah for just to have one, and maybe this picture here. All right, so we'll have 4 pictures. I think I just clicked there, and we'll bring them in. All right, so this one here, this is interesting because this is a ping, and I think all these might be pings. Yeah, I think they all are. Which is okay. Let me see here. Do I have any that is a solid? That looks like it'll be a solid. So how about I tell it to auto crop that one, but I'll leave the other ones alone. All right, let's auto crop that one too. And then we'll have that one auto cropped, that one not, that one auto cropped, and that one not. Now, if I tell it okay, and I build this page, we'll call it, we'll just call it test page 2. How's that? Test page 2. We'll tell it to go. And if we view it, what we'll see it's going to be doing is this. You'll now see that it's going to slide to a little bit of a different look. What we're going to be seeing is the black background around where there wasn't any, where there was the green portion of the slideshow was still showing. It shows up as black, and the part that where it was fully covered just shows up the whole picture. But could I change that? Yeah, I could. Let's go in here and close this, and I'm going to tell the slideshow manager now that I don't want any letterboxing. I'm going to click none, and that is, it's going to take this what had been black background. I'm going to take it away now completely and tell it okay, and we'll build this page again, and we'll call it the same thing. And yes, now this time you're going to see a little bit of a different story. Here's the full picture, one that covers everything, but now you can see that where the pings come up, they just blend into the background of the page. They don't have any of that black background anymore. It's just gone, and it just blends into the background of the page. Okay? So I think that pretty much covers what we did with the action pages. Now, we did talk also about linking. I could take this page that we have here, which is page 2. I think we saved it as, and I'll put on it a button. And let's see here. I think I had a button. I just said next, and I stuck it. You can put these things anywhere you want, but I'll just size it down a little bit and stick it up here, and maybe color it, something like this, so that it's in the red zone. And I'm going to make a link to a page. Now the one that we're building here, you can call these pages anything, but when you do, you have to make sure that your link points to the right thing. That is, I'm going to make this a trigger that is going to point to an action page, and it's going to point to one that we called test page. That is the first one we made. Okay, so I'll give this this now has a trigger on it that is a link to another page. And if I rebuild this thing and I go back and I again call it test page 2, and I'm going to overwrite it. When we open it up, it'll come up like so. You'll see that it's doing what it was doing before. It's got the same slideshow characteristics it had the last time. But it also has this link up here. Now when I click this link, it's going to take us to our first test page that we made. And there's the first test page that we made. Right? And it'll just sit there and do what it did. It had Sarah's pictures cycling through like so. I can go back to where I came from, and this thing will just start cycling its pictures again, and then the next one would take me back to Sarah again. And I think that covers pretty much everything we did in the class, so I'm going to let it go at that, and next class we'll start talking more about additional action elements that you can place on the page and get very different effects, okay? So until the next time, this is Dave. Bye-bye.